with LinkedIn, especially as a coach or consultant, the riches are in the niches. If you try to appeal to anyone and everyone, you'll be nobody to no one.
Are you a corporate escapee and wasting valuable time attempting to figure challenges out on your own? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you firsthand experiences of guests going through many of the struggles you face each and every day. We get real with no corporate BS. And now, over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hello and welcome to Corporate Escapees. Our guest today is someone who was a reporter and in PR and corporate. He was sitting in a meeting and he thought, is this the best there is? So he left and then he used LinkedIn to hit record results in a short period of time. That has then seen him go into doing this for a living. And he really gives us a masterclass on LinkedIn. So what I'll do now is hand you over to John Nemo from Nemo Media Group. Welcome, John Nemo from Nemo Media Group to the Corporate Escapees podcast brought to you by Build, Live, Give. So welcome, John.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, Paul.
Yeah, we're very excited about having you on as well. So why don't we start with just something that your family or friends would know about you that we wouldn't?
Oh, this could get dangerous. I will say this, Paul. I am obsessed with pizza. I could eat it 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I never, ever, ever get tired of pizza. That seems very important. So there you go.
Great. And do you shop around, or do you have the one place that you love?
You know what? I turn away no pizza, Paul. I'm not a pizza snob. I'll eat any type. And I should say I grew up the son of my dad was Italian and made homemade pizza and pasta. So like Italian food is that's soul food for me. So there you go. Now we're all friends. Let's get a pizza. I'm getting hungry.
Great. Well, look, I think you've got to build a pizza oven. Sounds like it, John, in your backyard.
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
Clear off the snow and away you go. So I know you started as a news reporter and you've had a great career and then obviously moved into your own business. But why don't you just take us through your corporate escapee story?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So kind of my career started, as you mentioned, I was a reporter. So I worked for the Associated Press and for different newspapers, talk radio, things like that. And then I transitioned into a corporate job when I got married to my wife, Sarah, and we started having kids, and I wanted to have a more regular schedule. So then what I did was ended up getting jobs for trade associations doing public relations and then social media work. And kind of it all came to a head for me in 2012 where, I had a great, this is going to sound familiar probably to a lot of listeners, but I had a great day job. I was making 6 figures. It was safe. I wasn't going to get fired. I could kind of just coast for a while. The benefits were great. And I was miserable. I just remember the breaking point for me was a meeting about men in tights. And so I need to explain this, but at the time I worked for a labor union here in the United States in Minnesota, and it was to represent nurses. And we had this, we had a pretty aggressive, political leaning kind of labor union that I worked for. I was an employee of, and they wanted to do a politically themed protest for a Robin Hood tax. So I'm sitting literally in these corporate offices in a boardroom, in a meeting, listening to people talk about how are we going to spend, union member dues on tights and little hats and little hoodies, Robin Hood stuff and signs. And I remember looking out the window, Paul, going, is this all there is? Like, is this what I'm going to spend the next 30 years doing is PR and social media for this shenanigans, And I had never been out on my own full time, right? And so I had my wife and 3 young boys. My wife was at home, and that's when, in that moment, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I cannot do this. And so I can walk through what that looked like. I'm just not sure if you want me to do the whole story now, or do you have more questions first?
No, look, why don't you just give us the quick view of that? And then what I really want to do is get into the questions of what you do around your absolute expertise, which is LinkedIn. So why don't you just give us sort of the short version?
Yeah, and it all ties together, which is the great thing about it. Is so, again, I'm miserable. I'm at that job, and my real passion at the time, the entrepreneurial itch that I wanted to scratch, was I wanted to open my own marketing agency. Always been the son, I was the son of 2 English teachers, love storytelling, books, all kinds of media. And I'm like, how can I make that a profession? How can I do that full time? And so what I decided to do, I got one client, I had enough money for 30 days here on the side, and I quit. I gave in my notice. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I had a plan in place, Paul, and it was really to understand how I could get more clients quickly without traveling, without a big budget. I didn't have any investors, right? I had me and one client, enough money for a month. And what I discovered back then, and what is still even more true today, is that I could use LinkedIn to find and engage and talk to the exact people that wanted my products and services. And so all the way back in 2012, literally within the first 90 days of quitting my job and starting my own company, just me in a bedroom, with a wobbly folding card table on my laptop, I was able to generate, 6 figures in revenue of new business, all of it from LinkedIn, all of it from people, who had never met me in real life. But I really understood immediately, okay, this is the new world we live in. This is a way where I can get business quickly with LinkedIn. And that led me then into creating online training courses and books and coaching. And so that's what I do now, working from home, showing other people how to use LinkedIn like I did to kind of make that leap and to quickly, bring in business, bring in leads, in a way that I hadn't seen anyone else doing to that point.
Great. And John, if you go back to, 2012, was it easier or harder than what you thought to run your own business?
Oh, I didn't know anything. So it was harder. I didn't have the tools and the technology and the time savers that I do now, but I had an ability to engage people. And so what I understood, and this is the big secret to LinkedIn that everyone always asks about, is you've got to be able to overlay your real life one-on-one persona onto LinkedIn. And this is true about any online engagement, but what's really unique about that platform is you can really engage people one-to-one, belly to belly, right? Virtually. And so where it really came in handy for me was understanding back then was with LinkedIn, trying to build a business. So whether you're a coach, consultant, business owner, whatever, there were kind of 3 things I really understood. And the first was having a client-facing profile and really understanding, the big thing with LinkedIn so many people think about is, well, it's kind of like your resume, right? It's for job seekers and HR people. And you just kind of put up a resume in the third person and talk about yourself and all the things you've done. And what I realized, Paul, was nobody cared, right? Nobody really cared about me and my accomplishments. What my prospective clients cared about was themselves, morning, noon, and after supper. And that's a quote I got from Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He wrote those words in 1936. Your clients, your prospects do not care about you. They care about themselves morning, noon, and after supper. So what I did was I overlaid that approach to LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile page, this is step 1, went from being John Nemo's resume, here's where I've worked and what I've done, to a client-facing profile. And the other big thing was with LinkedIn, especially as a coach or consultant, the riches are in the niches. If you try to appeal to anyone and everyone, you'll be nobody to no one. And what I mean by that is, in my example, I wanted to open up a marketing agency. So website design and graphics and PR and copywriting and emails and all kinds of stuff. I could have done that for anyone, right? I had experience in different industries and I could help anyone. But what I realized right away was if I just target a small niche audience on LinkedIn where I can connect with the exact decision makers and my profile kind of matches that approach, it becomes very easy. So in my example, my story, one of the things I recommend too with people listening is reverse engineer where you've already had success. So for me, I had worked for the Debt Collection Trade Association, not something anyone thinks of when they wake up of, I want to help debt collectors, right? But I worked PR and social media for a big, a North American trade association serving debt collectors. So I knew that industry, there was no learning curve, and I knew that was underserved. Nobody was pitching them marketing services. So when I started on LinkedIn by myself, my one client was a debt collector who I was going to build a website for. And so now my LinkedIn profile header, instead of reading John Nemo, CEO, Nemo Media Group, it read John Nemo, Debt Collection Marketing Services, Debt Collection Sales and Marketing Services. And then the first line of my profile didn't read, John Nemo is the CEO of this company and blah, blah, blah. It read, what I do, I help debt collectors get more leads, increase revenue, and generate sales by providing industry-specific marketing services, right? And it was all about them. From my LinkedIn headline through the summary was, here's who I serve, here's what I do, here's the benefits you get. So even a quick win for everyone listening right now, take the first sentence of your LinkedIn profile and use this template, what I do, and write it all in capital letters because you can't really italicize or bold your text on your LinkedIn profile. What I do, all capital letters, I help, insert your target audience, I help this audience achieve or get, and then you insert 2 or 3 benefits they want by providing my product or service. I help this audience get 2 to 3 benefits by providing my product or service. If even you just do that one sentence, Paul, people immediately see your LinkedIn headline, which is all about them and their industry, and that first sentence, and they go, oh, this guy's all about me. He works with people just like me, and he helps people just like me get these 2 or 3 benefits that I really want. And that's the key to really understanding the first step to doing well on LinkedIn.
Great. And you said a third thing. So you said client-facing profile, which is great, the right niche. What's the third thing?
Right. And that's really the engagement. So I break it down into 3 Ps. So one is the profile and client-facing niche approach. The second P is prospecting, where you go out and connect with the exact decision makers, which I'll explain in a minute. And the third P I call is profits, where you really are able to, engage and talk to people. And so in my instance, why LinkedIn works so well, step 1, I had a client-facing profile. I'm all about helping debt collectors make more money. The reason I'm unique and valuable to you, what makes me unique? I would put in the profile that phrase, what makes me unique? Because I spent 2 years working for the industry's largest trade association doing PR. I understand debt collection marketing. I understand your niche. I only focus on you. Here's an example, real time, for coaches and consultants listening. I have a guy, a corporate escapee. He recently hired me to coach him. He was a longtime financial advisor, okay? And he made the leap a couple months ago to go out and do coaching because that's his passion. He said, what should I do? How should I niche it? I said, you now become the coach for financial advisors who want to get more sales, get more clients, get more revenue, because he was very successful in his career. So his profile says, coach for financial advisors. What I do, I help overworked, stressed out financial advisors generate more appointments and close more sales by providing, industry specific sales training and, insights and coaching. What makes me unique? Having spent 20 years as a financial advisor myself, I've walked in your shoes. I've been in the trenches. I know what works and what doesn't, why, benefits you're going to get from working with me. So it was very easy for him to build that trust. And so now when you go out and connect with the people on LinkedIn, this is what's really exciting, Paul, is it's basically a big search engine. 600 million members on LinkedIn in 200 different countries. 2 new members join every single second. Here's the great thing. You can go out and use LinkedIn. They have every piece of data indexed about all of us, like Big Brother, okay? So you can go to LinkedIn and say, I want to use your search engine and your search filters to find debt collection agency owners in the United States who went to university at this school and who volunteer in this area, or whatever it is. Like, you can get so nuanced and niched. And so what I did, and what you can do listening, is find your exact decision maker by their job title, industry type, whatever, filter it by where they live. You can even filter it by they went to school or university. And now you have these built-in icebreakers and conversation starters. So I'll tell you one example of why this works so well. So when I was back doing this in 2012, I was trying to connect with debt collection agency executives and owners, the people that could write the check to say, yes, we'll hire you to do a website, or we'll hire you for a project. So one guy I found on that list lived in, I think it was in Delaware here in the United States. All I could really find about his profile that was personalized was he went to the University of Pittsburgh here in the United States during the 1980s. And so I'm a huge sports fan. I'm a huge fanatical sports person. And what I was thinking, in my head was, okay, if I met this guy in real life and he told me, yeah, I went to the University of Pittsburgh in the 80s, what could I mention about that? And I thought, oh, I remember Send It In Jerome. And this was a famous sports play. Okay, so here in the United States, college basketball is a huge thing. During the 1980s, at the University of Pittsburgh, they had a great basketball team. And their star player, Jerome Lane, in a nationally televised game, went up and dunked the basketball and shattered the glass backboard. And the glass came raining down, and the crowd went wild. And the announcer on TV yelled in, "Send it in, Jerome, send it in." And it was this amazing sports moment of the 1980s. Today, it would be a viral video on YouTube. Everyone would see it. Yes. But anyway, this happened at that university during that time the guy went there. I instinctively knew that, just playing to my strengths and things I'm passionate about. So when I invited him to connect on LinkedIn, hey, my name's John Nemo. Thought I'd reach out to connect. By the way, do you remember Send It In Jerome? ? Right? Because I know he went to school during that era when that play happened. He accepts the invite, Paul. He writes back 30 seconds later, a one-on-one LinkedIn message. He says, "I was at the game. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. You're bringing back all these memories. I was a student there, and I was there when he dunked the ball. We all went nuts, and blah, blah, blah." Now he's engaged emotionally. I've broken the ice with him. Now he's intrigued. Who's this John Nemo on LinkedIn reminding me about my glory days at university 30 years ago, right? Now he looks at my profile. Who is this Nemo guy? Debt collection marketing services. I help debt collection agencies just like you get these benefits. He looks at that. He writes me another message. "Hey, I'm really impressed with your profile. Looks like you do exactly what we're looking for. Can we have a call tomorrow to discuss? Your timing is great. We're looking for a new vendor for marketing help." We get on the phone the next day. I close a $10,000 contract on the phone with a complete stranger from Send It In Jerome, right? Like, it can work that quickly. And when I was auditing clients later on, and I went back to this client and asked him, like, what really won you over to use me and use my, company and whatever for marketing? Was it our flyers? Was it our website? Was it our logo? He goes, "No, man, it was Send It In Jerome." Like, I knew immediately that you were a likable, fun guy. I loved how you personalized your first engagement with me. And I thought, man, if you personalize marketing to me that way, you'll do a great job marketing us to our leads. Like, you're creative, you're thinking outside the box, you're connecting it to my personal stories. And that's the power of LinkedIn. It's really understanding you can replicate these real life one-on-one conversations with built-in icebreakers, with built-in ways to personalize your approach. And then, you can then pivot and offer to, do business with people. And that's the part people get hung up on, which I'll explain more later. But that's how powerful this platform is.
Yeah, Brian. And if we just shift gears a little around your business, and then we'll come back to LinkedIn. But, what's the vision for your business? So in 3 years' time, what does, Nemo Media Group look like?
Yeah. So, my vision right now, and the thing I'm passionate about is, and especially if you're a coach or consultant, this will appeal to you too, this model. I want to bottle up all the knowledge between my ears, put it out as an online course, and sell it over and over and over again. And so I've really built that model to where I have 3 different online courses. So they're automated, they're evergreen, on demand. About, one is about how to use LinkedIn to get leads. One is about how to use webinars to sell your products and services or book coaching calls. Another one's about how to use content marketing. But the beautiful thing is, and what I love with this, Paul, is we live in the greatest era ever to really, monetize your knowledge, to sell teaching. And so my parents were both English teachers. They were stuck in a classroom of 20 kids at university. My classroom's the whole world. Like, I can reach anyone, anywhere, and sell training. And so for me in 3 years, what it looks like is selling these online courses repeatedly, hitting my monthly revenue numbers, and spending very little time having to do, engagement and one-on-one coaching every day. And in fact, I've already built and scaled it to, having an automated funnel with LinkedIn plus automated webinars plus automated emails plus content, where I'm able to sell, 1 or 2 of these online courses every day without really having to talk to anyone, just through content marketing and automation. And these are $2,000 US courses. So it's not like it's, a cheap, easy ask. But if you understand content marketing and automation and enough personalization, that's where the magic is. And really the ability to get people engaged and excited and wanting to work with you through that content. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, and you talk about online courses. I know that there's a lot of banter around the completion rates of courses, and whatever the percentages are, they're incredibly low. What are the things that and you can help people listening right now around getting better course completion and better results out of courses?
Yeah, the number one thing is and I've ran this temptation. I've done 3 online courses now. The first temptation is just to throw everything in there that you think to make it look really impressive. So I'm going to just add every bell and whistle and a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily need and make it really long and important sounding, and people don't complete it, right? Because at the end of the day, people aren't buying knowledge from you, they're buying time. Like, they want you to shortcut the process and save them time. So my LinkedIn Riches lead generation course only takes 5 hours. I mean, you can get through it in less than a day and get results and get clients. And the idea behind that was, I don't cover every feature of LinkedIn. I don't go into LinkedIn groups. I don't go into LinkedIn, ads. I don't go into all the features of the site that don't get you results. And I'm hyper focused. I pitch, the course, and I sell the course to coaches and consultants to get leads. And so the number one thing with getting people to complete your course is make it, digestible and easy and fast. And the other big secret I've learned is ask. Like, before I create a course, I go to the people I want to sell it to, and I have this simple 1-question survey. So I'll go to coaches and consultants and say, what do you want to know more about generating leads with LinkedIn? That's all I'll say. No other, I don't ask for any other information. You don't have to put your name in, anything. And they'll tell me. Like, they'll give you the answers that can make up your course. Like, how to automate engagement, or where do I start, or how do I get people to respond to my messages? Those become the key selling points of your course and the key modules. And really, once you make it digestible and fast, like, your job is just to get people through it as quickly as possible. The big mistake you think is, well, if I want to justify a $2,000 price tag, I have to have 400 hours of training, and 6 million scripts and all that. Like, people don't want that. They just want a fast, quick win. And so if you can walk them through that as quickly as possible, they're happy to spend the $2,000. I had a guy the other day, Paul, posted in our Facebook group, I got a $30,000 client. Thanks, John. Like, he's thrilled. Like, he wasn't mad that the course was only 5 hours long. He used it, he applied it, he got a huge client. Like, those become the success stories. Then you turn around and show those to other course members and say, get motivated. See, you can do this. And, success begets success. You highlight and, tell stories about the people that are getting results because they went through it. And that gets people moving fast.
Great. Well, I'd love to just dive in and with key questions I got from my audience before you came on, John, because they were so excited to have you on, given, LinkedIn and podcasts, I think, are sort of the 2 best ways for coaches and consultants.
Amen.
To generate leads outside of referrals. And where referrals ends up normally going, it ends up on a dry creek. So the first one is around profile views. Like, for a coach or a consultant, what's sort of a benchmark number on how many profile views they should be getting a week? Because I know I think it's only the premium that gives you that ability. But John, how do you, what's your view on that?
My view on that is you cannot deposit profile views in your bank account, Paul. The numbers don't matter. The numbers don't matter. We all want to get concerned with, how many likes, how many shares, how many profile views, I don't care about any of that. I care about getting you clients. I'm going to tell everyone right now, the money on LinkedIn is in the mailbox. You don't have to post a bunch of content. You don't have to worry about a bunch of profile views. All you have to do is find and engage your ideal clients 1-to-1. You're selling to other human beings. And there's a very specific approach that I recommend for this. So 1 is client-facing profile. 2 is prospecting. Go out and connect with the exact person who would want to hire you as a coach or consultant based on your profile, your expertise, your niche. 3 is using a very specific style of engagement that almost nobody does. And what I do on LinkedIn is, let's say I want to sell you, Paul. I want to sell you my LinkedIn lead generation course. I'm going to connect with you. You're a business coach, and you're going to see my profile says, John Nemo, I help business coaches generate leads on LinkedIn. You're like, all right, whatever. He seems like a nice chap. I'll accept his invite. My first message to you isn't, Paul, I'd like you to buy my $2,000 US online course, right? Like, I don't start there. I say, Paul, I see you live in Australia. I am so jealous. Right now, it's negative 60 Fahrenheit wind chill here in Minneapolis, and there's a foot of snow. Like, why do I live here? Ha, 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 right? And then I pivot after I personalize our first engagement. I say, also curious, are you looking to use LinkedIn to find more coaching clients? The reason I ask is I've got a great free training tailored to helping coaches find clients with LinkedIn. And then a big important phase, I ask permission. I don't include the link. I don't assume you want it. I ask your permission. So this is all within a one-on-one LinkedIn message. Hey, Paul, personal note, curious, are you looking for this benefit? The reason I ask is I have something of value for free that I want to share with you. And then I say, if you like, just reply yes or send me back a thumbs up emoji and I'll give you a link to the free training. And then I end by saying, no worries either way. Great to be connected. Cheers. And what happens is I pre-qualify people with a polite message. So I can scale that on LinkedIn through either automation software or a VA helping me and talk to 10, 20, 100 coaches a day. So of the coaches that say, yeah, I'm curious about using LinkedIn to get leads, tell me more. Now I link them to automated content. Great. Here's a link to the free training. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Send them over to an automated webinar registration. They sign up for an automated webinar. They get pre-webinar content, tips, trainings that get them quick wins, like how to fix your profile. Now, by the time they go through the automated webinar, they're already warmed up. They're getting wins. Through the webinar, they get to know, like, and trust me. They hear my story. End of the webinar, I make a specific time-sensitive offer. I give people an option at the end of the webinar to talk to me live one-on-one via live chat software. And then I sell the courses. And all I do is really spend 5 to 10 minutes per prospect to sell a $2,000 US product. Because again, the content and the automation do most of the heavy lifting to demonstrate my expertise, to demonstrate my value, to show you I can help you. But the key is using LinkedIn to spark those conversations. Just like real life, I would ask you a question. And if you said to me, Paul, no, I got more clients I don't know what to do with. I don't want any more, not interested. I would say, no problem. I'll stop bothering you. I'll mark you on LinkedIn as not a prospect and move on. And that's where people get caught is, I got to worry about numbers and metrics and this and that. Doesn't matter. Can't deposit any of that in your bank account. I want clients, right? And that's where the one-on-one engagement done the right way, which is hard and it's an art form, done the right way, that one-on-one engagement leads people down that path where they keep saying yes to you over and over and over again, and then they're ready to purchase.
And is there any difference for an online program, like you said, versus a high ticket item, which a lot of coaches listening now and consultants have a high ticket item? They don't have online content. Is there any difference in your methodology based on that?
No. I mean, I sell $15,000 US coaching programs on it too, like 8-week programs, 15 grand. And it's the same approach, which basically says, hey, Paul, great to connect. I notice you're a coach. You're looking for help. And then they'll tell me, yeah, I'm looking for help. And I'll say, well, are you looking to do it yourself? Or are you looking more for done for you, done with you? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, okay, well, here's a few options. Like I have a do-it-yourself course. I can do it with you. The key thing is really understanding the ROI of the clients, right? So I'm not going to pitch you the $15,000 program, Paul, if you say to me, well, one new client's worth about $100 a month. Right?
Yes.
I'm never going to be able to get you enough business to pay that. But I have a lot of coaches that say to me, because I always ask that. I say, well, just so I can figure out the best, place to send you, what's one new client worth? What's the ROI of like one new coaching client? Oh, one new coaching client is $3,500 a month. Okay. Well, now it makes sense for me to get you onto the phone to talk about my $15,000 program because I can get you 5 clients in 2 months. Are you kidding? Like, no brainer, right? If someone says, I'm just starting, I don't have anything in place, but I'm just going to get my first client, then I'll move you to the online course. But it's the same approach where you're using content as currency. The content I give you is the same whether I want to pitch you a high-ticket program or the online course. The content demonstrates my expertise. It demonstrates my knowledge. It helps you get to know, like, and trust me. And that's why podcasting and audio content is so helpful, and video as well, and webinars, because those are higher trust, higher emotional engagement types of content. When you hear my voice in your head and you can hear my excitement, right? You get excited, you get connected to me. I'm in your head, literally, as opposed to you're just reading copy. So it really just depends on, what you're selling, what the typical ROI is for that client, finding that out, and then positioning your offer. And also having enough content on the front end to work it out. Can I tell you my $75,000 mistake quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I'm not perfect. This will shock everyone. I had a guy come in through LinkedIn Pro Finder, which is only in the US, but it's a marketplace where you can put in a request for proposal through LinkedIn and say, so a guy put in a request for proposal for marketing help. He was in my city. He said, hey, I'm looking for LinkedIn marketing help. I'm a business coach. Send me a bid. So I replied, and this guy had never heard of me. He hadn't consumed any of my content yet. But I sent a really good reply and got him excited and said, let's have a phone call. Let me see how I can help you. And so I got him on the phone. And the guy told me, okay, here's what I do. I'm a coach. A small client for me is worth, $15,000 a month. A big client's worth $250,000 a year. I'm a big deal. I'm really impressive. And I'm listening going, wow, okay, great. And I say, I see all these ways I can help you. Do you want me to do it for you or with you or, whatever? And he goes, yeah, just do it all for me. Put a bid together. So I'm thinking, great. Well, the numbers you told me, this is a no-brainer. So I put together a $75,000 bid to do LinkedIn and webinars and all kinds of marketing for him. And then I send it over to him after this great call where we totally bonded, and it's nothing, like crickets, for like a week. And I keep following up and nothing. So finally I find his cell phone number and I text him and I say, hey, what happened? Like, are you still interested in the bid or what, what's going on? And he goes, oh, you're way out of my price range. I don't want to spend that much. And I'm like, what? Like, you told me, the ROI, it's a no-brainer. And I realized, Paul, he didn't know, like, or trust me yet beyond that little 30-minute call. Mm-hmm. If he had read my book, if he had been listening to my podcast for 6 months, if he had been through a webinar, if he had heard me on your show, right, and then come to me, he was that much more warmed up and pre-qualified. So instead of chasing people and trying to prove yourself, let your content do all that. Let them self-select and pre-qualify so that by the time they get to you live on the phone or live via chat, they're ready. I've been listening to your podcast, Paul. I love your philosophy. You're really funny. I could totally see myself enjoying having you coach me. What does it look like? How do we do this? What are your packages? That's the kind of client you want, not who are you? Who have you helped? What can you do for me? So it's a big difference.
Yeah. And John, you're, from 2012 to now, you've, had an amazing escalation, I suppose, in your business growth. What about people listening right now thinking, this all sounds brilliant, John, but like, where do I start? Like, other than do your profile, I niche down, that's cool. And I start to engage. Is that the place they start on this journey? Just give me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I just give you a couple simple steps, one is get your LinkedIn game in action. That's, especially if you're a business coach or consultant, 99% of your best prospects are on LinkedIn, right? You're trying to sell to other professionals. So get your LinkedIn game in order, client-facing profile, figure out an engagement strategy. And then you have to figure out, how can I get people to believe in me and trust me? If I'm brand new and I'm a corporate escapee and I'm just starting my coaching program, I don't have 20 years of client testimonials to prove it. So I need to prove it through stories and through content and through demonstrating expertise. So you share your story and your content, leaving your job, all the things you learned in your niche, but you also then share it with tips and insights and quick wins. Just like I'm sharing LinkedIn profile tips. People can take that and get a quick win. And they go, that was easy. I wonder what else John can teach me. Oh, he can teach me this? Great. And so the other big thing, one, get your LinkedIn game in order. Two, create some content. Create some content that specifically helps your target audience solve some problems and also gets them to know, like, and trust you. Gets them warmed up to your personal brand. Because, by the way, your biggest advantage in the marketplace, your unique, thing that no one else can do, Paul, is you. Like nobody can replicate you. This might come as a shock to our listeners. There are a lot of LinkedIn trainers out there, correct? Like you can pick, there's millions of them. You can pick anybody. And yes, we all have unique approaches and stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's like choosing a car mechanic, right? Everyone's providing the same service, but you pick the guy you like. You pick the guy you trust. You pick the guy you enjoy talking to. And you do that based on who that person is. And if your online presence with LinkedIn and with your content doesn't showcase your personal brand, doesn't help people get to know you, they're never going to buy from you because we're still selling to humans, especially a high trust profession like coaching or consulting one-to-one. That's high trust. I have to feel comfortable. I have to make sure I'm going to like you and that we get along and we have similar senses of humor and that I'm a good fit for you. And that's where your content can really do a lot of that for you. It can attract the right people if you share your personality and your content, and it can repel the bad ones who would not be a good fit for you, who don't like your 80s jokes, right? Who don't like your sense of humor, who don't like your outlook on life. And that way you bring in the right people.
Great. And your biggest challenges, what's the biggest challenges in running your business at the moment?
I think my biggest challenge is just, not having enough time to probably delegating, probably not trusting people enough to outsource more parts of my business. I'm getting there. Trust has always just been a big issue for me. Just my whole backstory and growing up and having some childhood abuse. And that's the other part of it too, is the mindset. Like that is a big challenge, right? Especially for a coach, a consultant, solopreneur, you're on your own. Like I've worked really hard at improving my mindset and visualization, and I can share resources on that. But I would say delegating and then having the right mindset, because your thoughts really do control the outcome. They really do control your life, how you deal with rejection, how you deal with, angry customers, how you deal with making that next outreach. So that would probably be the two things that are challenging.
Great. Well, before we go into the next section, I'd like to mention our YouTube channel called Build, Live, Give. You get great tips to help corporate escapees, just like John, to rapidly grow. So please look at the content, subscribe, share with other corporate escapees, and also stay to the end because I will do my 3 key takeouts from John. And I'm going to really struggle, John, because you've given me so much, but I will find my top 3. So the next question is, what are the daily habits that make you successful?
Visualization. My monthly revenue tripled when I started doing visualization. Tripled. I'm not making that up. So here's what happened. I read a book called Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. You can find it anywhere. I started doing exercises and visualization, and it's very specific. My results tripled. And what happened was I started acting differently without even realizing it, and closed more sales and was more positive and more confident and more engaging and more enthusiastic. And boy, did that result in more sales. Not hocus pocus, not phony magic, just being the person I needed to be to close deals. And it's through visualization. That's the number one daily habit.
Great. And Sarah, I know you mentioned Sarah before, your wife. When she's listening to this podcast, she's actually listening right now. What would you like to say to her about the support she's given you through this great journey?
Oh, man, you are patient. It's a roller coaster ride, I've been doing it for 6 years, and we had a lot of lean months, and we had a lot of times where she's just been my biggest cheerleader. She's always just said, I believe in you, you can do it. And you need a spouse or a life partner who believes in you, right? Because it's so easy to, if you have enough struggles on your own, if your partner isn't got your back, it really is tough. And so she's somebody that, she's invested in me. She holds down the home front when I'm off doing work stuff, raising the kids, but also, she's not afraid to interject and give thoughts and give ideas. And she's a brilliant entrepreneur in her own right, which is very helpful. I think it's just, the fact that she's always said, I believe in you. We both have a similar motto, which is, make memories, like go for it, live your life. You got one shot, take your shot. you can always go back and get another day job. Let's be honest, right? Those aren't going away. So go for it. Take your shot.
Great. And the next question is, or the next section is the give section. So what's a community or a charity that you support and why?
Yeah, great question. Ransomedheart.com. Ransomedheart.com. I'm a huge Christian, a huge fan of Jesus, not religion, just my guy Jesus. And hope that's okay to share. I don't know, but I am anyway. You asked, man. So, they are a great ministry that's really just, they're not religious. They're about Jesus. John Eldredge is the main guy. He wrote a book called Wild at Heart. A lot of people know him for that. It's been life-changing. It's really connects me to the purpose and to, my belief in Jesus. And yeah, they're just amazing. They rescue people's hearts. And I can't think of a better mission than getting people's hearts back and seeing them come alive. And that's what they do. So yeah, I love it.
Oh, inspiring. So the last section is the action section where I'll ask you some questions and get some rapid fire responses. So the first one is, what are your top 3 productivity tips?
Yeah, I would say number 1 has been Calendly, online calendar, just kind of protecting my schedule, protecting my turf.
Yes.
Another great one for, sending out emails. I do a technique with LinkedIn called warm emails, where I'll connect with you on LinkedIn, send you a message. If I don't hear from you, I want to send you a warm follow-up email, because a lot of people aren't real savvy on LinkedIn messaging, but I don't want to lose the chance to engage. Now, I used to have to copy paste each email individually, but what I found was a tool. I use Gmail, and you can connect your work email account to it or whatever. There's a tool for it called Gmass, letter G, M-A-S-S. It's free. It plugs into Gmail. You upload a CSV file, and it sends out one-to-one personal emails, puts in the person's name, the company name, whatever data you want, saves me a ton of time in follow-up emails. Third tip I would say that I use all the time for productivity would be, probably Entreport for automation. And so that's a CRM and an email system where all of my engagement is automated in the sense of, if you like this, I'm going to send you that. If you click a link in this email, you're going to get this piece of content. If you don't open this email, you're going to get this one instead. If you, and even with my webinars, I use Webinar Jam and EverWebinar, and it's automated behavior-based tools. So if you went on the webinar but left before the sales pitch, you automatically get this follow-up email. If you went on the webinar, saw the sales pitch, and didn't purchase, you get this email, and it's all automated. Mm-hmm. So I can meet people with context based on behaviors, both my emails and my webinar follow-ups, and that results in a lot more sales and engagement because it's based on what you did. And that is a huge time saver.
Great. And podcasts, what are some favorite podcasts you love to listen to?
Oh, favorite. Well, this one.
Thank you. Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. I really like the Ransomed Heart podcast, that ministry that I mentioned earlier. For business, let's see. Boy, what else do I like? I really like, there's too many good ones to name. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I like, let me think of a good one here. It's called Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. It's just entertainment, just fun. I like Ray Edwards for copywriting. Ray Edwards Show is a good one for business. Who else do I like? That's off the top of my head. I do a mix of entertainment, sports, and then a few business ones. But typically, I don't get too heavy into too many of them, just, with everything going on.
Yeah, great. And my last question is, what impact do you want to leave on the world?
I guess my big thing, I would love people to know 2 things about me. Like, one was, that guy was crazy about Jesus. And if you follow me online, LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm sharing him, not in a pushy way, a spammy way, a Bible thumping way, but man, am I great. I'm so glad to know who this guy is. And I'm such a mess. I'm so glad I got a hero to save me, which is my approach to Jesus. And the second thing would be, I would love people to get inspired and feel like, why not take a shot? Why not quit my day job? Why not do this? Like, this knucklehead John did it. Like, I can do this, look, I'm not anyone special or unique. I just didn't give up. And that's really what I want people to walk away with is, let me end on this, Paul. Like, we live in the single best time in human history to take whatever your passion is and turn that into a profitable enterprise. They're literally the technology, the tools, the ability to reach the exact people you want to sell to. Now, I grew up in the 1980s. You couldn't have done that. You couldn't have a radio show, a TV show, a printing press. Like, that was the gatekeepers were in place. Now you have YouTube and podcasts and blogs. Like, there's no excuse to spend another day at a job you hate when all these tools are available. And being able to bottle up your expertise, your knowledge, your passion, put it out as content, engage with people, sell to them online, process payments online, get paid online, be able to live the life that you want on your terms. That's what I would love to have an impact with, getting more people doing that.
Brilliant. Well, look, you can, find out so much more about John at linkedinriches.com. We'll have all the links to all of the great content he's mentioned in the show notes, and you can also go and listen to him as well. I think you've got so much passion. You're so inspiring, John, and thanks for coming on and sharing your story today.
Hey, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, John. There was so much value given by John there. I just love his energy, but I had 3 key takeouts. So the first one is profile that is client facing. The second is the riches are in the niches. And the third one is have conversations with potential clients through Messenger. I think that was such a powerful thing. So, John has got awesome amount of content. You can find more about him at linkedinriches.com, and we'll put all the links in the show notes. If you know other corporate escapees that would get great benefit from this show, please share it with them. And remember, please take action.
Thank you for listening to the Corporate Escapees podcast, brought to you by Build, Live, Give. If you would like to join a community of like-minded peers, please visit www.buildlivegive.com. Until next time, thanks for listening and be brave.